Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating linguistic experiment, one that tried to make communicating across the globe incredibly simple. We're going to see how a tiny vocabulary can actually do some surprisingly heavy lifting, and how one word on that list is probably going to raise a few eyebrows. Okay, let's get into it.
So let me just start by asking you a question. Do you think you could express pretty much any idea you have, hold a real conversation, and be understood anywhere in the world using a vocabulary that's actually smaller than what a young child has? It sounds a little crazy, right? Well, the magic number is just 850. That's it. This is the entire foundation of a system called Basic English. Now, when you think about the fact that the full English language has hundreds of thousands of words, 850 seems almost impossible. But the people who created this system, they were convinced it was enough, because these specific words were chosen for being incredibly versatile. So, what exactly is Basic English? Well, you can think of it like a carefully selected toolkit of just 850 words. It was created at a time when the world was getting more connected and also more conflicted. The idea wasn't to replace English, but to offer a really simple, functional base for international business, science, and just talking to each other. But how can so few words do so much work? To really get the principle behind it, we need to look at how these words were picked. So we're going to zoom way in on one specific and, maybe a bit surprising word that actually made the list. And that word is gun. Yep, you see that right. According to our source, the Simple English Wiktionary, the word gun is one of those 850 essential building blocks for this entire simplified language. And this little snippet here shows you just how central it is. It's not some obscure word tucked away in a corner of the system. Nope, it's right there in the main list, alphabetically, sitting right between guide and hair. It's considered fundamental. So let's break down why. First up, let's look at the word in its most common form, as a simple noun. A word for a thing.
The definition is super clear, super direct. A gun is an object, a weapon that does a specific thing. It's a concrete noun. It refers to something tangible in the real world, which makes it a really useful and unambiguous word to have in a core vocabulary.
And this example sentence from the source, John F. Kennedy was shot by a gun, shows this perfectly. The word just functions as a straightforward tool in the sentence. It identifies the object that was used. It's simple, it's clear, and it's effective. And get this, the entry for this one simple word on the Simple English Wiktionary has been translated into 65 different languages. 65! That really highlights just how universal and globally understood the concept is, which makes it a really strong choice for an international word list. Okay, but this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because the true power of Basic English doesn't just come from simple nouns. This word's role completely changes when it becomes an action, when it becomes a verb. Okay, now look at this slide. This shows the incredible flexibility that's packed into one small word. On the left, to gun an engine means to accelerate, right? To make it go faster. But on the right, to be gunned down means to be shot. You've got two totally different actions. One is mechanical, one is violent, and both are expressed by the same root word. The meaning is created entirely by the other words you put around it. And this right here brings us to the big picture, to the core philosophy behind this whole system. Our little case study on the word gun kind of reveals the secret sauce that makes Basic English actually work. So the crucial point is this. Basic English isn't about having a word for every single thing out there. It's about having a small set of multi-purpose tools. Words like gun are chosen because they can act as a noun for an object and as a verb for an action. The whole system relies on context to build complex ideas from these simple parts. It's all about efficiency in language. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We often think that a massive vocabulary is the key to communication, but maybe the real power is in mastering the fundamentals, in understanding the incredible potential that's packed inside just one single, simple word. What do you think?